Hi, Miss Marion here. We're going to be talking about inequalities for the next 2 days. And so our statement can be, I can solve one-step inequalities in one variable, and I can tell by solving the equations whether there is a no solution, one solution, or infinite many solutions for an inequality. So you will need to go ahead and get the note page. It is in the Canvas page for this day, so it's inequalities day 1. And you'll also need to go ahead and print out the worksheet. So there's note pages and worksheets in the resources needed for the Canvas page for inequalities day 1. So you'll need to go ahead and do that. You might want to pause and go ahead and do that, and then kind of come back to me. All right, let's talk about inequalities and what they actually mean. So if we go ahead and we look at this one here, this one is known as greater than. Right? And if we graph it, we're going to graph it with an open circle. All right, the one underneath it is less than. And it's also going to have an open circle. All right, the one over here is greater than or equal to. And then the one below, and it's going to be a closed circle when we go to graph them. And then the last one is less than or equal to. And again, it's going to have a closed circle. All right, here is example number 1. So t minus 45 is less than or equal to 13. Now, we're going to solve this exactly like we do as a normal equation. So if we had an equal sign in there, so we're going to go ahead and we have a subtraction. We want to make or a negative, and we want to make a 0. And so we're going to go ahead and we are going to add 45 to both sides. Okay, so we need to go ahead and need to grab our calculators. And we're going to put in 45 plus 13 or 13 plus 45. And so we're going to have t is less than or equal to 58. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and graph it. And so whenever we graph, we need the variable on the left-hand side. So is the variable on the left-hand side, and with this one, yes, we have t is less than or equal to 58. And so now since the variable is on the left-hand side, we're going to go ahead and graph those. I like to put the 58 in the middle, and then put the numbers on how it's supposed to with the number line. And because it's less than or equal to, it's going to be a closed circle, and then less than means everything's smaller. So it's going to have it, so it's shaded in on this number line, so it goes to the left-hand side. All right, here's example number 2. 22 is greater than m minus 8. So again, we want to get the variable by itself. We want to get 8 by himself. So right now it's a subtract 8. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 8 to both sides. Grab a calculator. 22 plus 8, that ends up having 30, greater than, and then m. Now, remember, when we're doing inequalities, we have to have the variable on the left-hand side to go ahead and graph it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the m, and I'm going to put this in a different color. Let's do blue. So we have m, and we still have 30. Now notice how the one on the top, it's pointing towards the m. So that means we need to take this one here and point it towards m. If we do that, it's going to go m is less than 30. So again, we like to put the number in the middle. And this one is going to be an open circle. So when it's just less than, it's going to have an open circle. Less than or equal to is going to have a closed circle. And less than is everything that's smaller. So we're going to graph it so it goes to the right-hand side. All right, so again here we're going to go ahead and we want to solve it. So we have n is multiplied by r. So what is the opposite of multiplication is division. And then 9 divided by 9 is 1. It leaves the r by itself. We're going to bring down the less than. And then we're going to say 27 divided by 9. And that's going to be 3. So again, we like to have 3 in the middle. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. And it's going to be an open circle, and it's less than, so it's going to go to the left-hand side. All right, let's go ahead and we want to go ahead and solve for t. It is 3 times t, so we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. 15, -15 divided by 3 is -5, greater than, and we still have t. Okay, and again, we want the variable on the left-hand side. Is a variable on the left-hand side? No, it's not. So we're going to say t, -5. We're going to notice that it is pointing towards t, so we still have to make it pointing towards t. And so we have t is less than or equal to -5. We're going to put -5 in the middle. It's going to be a closed circle at 5. And because it's less than, it's going to go to the left-hand side. All right, let's go ahead and let's solve this one. We have -8 times k is greater than 32. And what we want to do is we want to get k by himself. So 8, -8, and k, they are multiplying, so we're going to divide everything. Now notice how we divided by a negative on both sides. So if we ever divide or multiply, so I'm going to put multiply in here. If we divide or multiply on both sides of the equation, that means we are going to flip our sign. So first of all, let's go ahead and we're going to do -8 divided by -8 is a 1, leaves k by himself. And then we're going to do 32 divided by -8. That is -4. And again, if we multiply or divide by a negative on both sides of the equation, so it has to be both sides, then we flip the sign. So if we flip our sign, so now instead of being pointing towards the number, it's going to be pointing towards the letter. And then now again, we need to look at it and go, okay, is my variable on the left-hand side? It is. I can go ahead and graph it. So we're going to put -4 in the middle. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. And make sure you label it correctly as far as how a number line actually goes. Okay. And then it's going to be an open circle, and it's less than, so it's going to be everything to the left-hand side. Now, I'm going to point out, not all of our answers are always going to be graphed, so it goes to the left-hand side. It just happened to be this way. It's not always going to happen, okay? So make sure you just graph the equation the way it's supposed to, not just be, oh, everything, the answer is going to go to the left-hand side, okay? Keep that in mind. All right, so here we have 4/3 multiplying by p is greater than -10. So I'm going to put a multiply there. That means I'm going to divide by 4/3 on both sides. Grab your calculator, do -10 divided by 4/3. And let's simplify that. So it's going to be -7 1/2, okay? And then we're going to have p by itself. This time, the answer, the inequality sign, it actually stays the same. We divide it by a positive 4/3 on both sides. Okay, again, so if we're doing something on both sides of the equation is when you flip it. This one actually stays the same. So we're going to have -7.5 in the middle. And let's do 6, -6. -6.5, -5, -5.5, -4. So notice how I'm just kind of doing them by points. 5, Okay, you guys get the idea. It's going to be open circle, and then this one, so you notice how it's going to go to the right-hand side because this one is P is greater than negative 7.5. Okay, and so we would graph it this way. All right, so now we have T minus 45 is less than or equal to T plus 13. Notice how if I check my variables, this is T and then this is also T. The variables are exactly the same. So if I move one of the variables to go to the other side, so like this is -1, right? I would subtract off -1t on both sides. Now what happens? These t's go away. It's -45 is less than or equal to, and those t's make a 0, they go away. We have positive 13. We now have to go ahead and we have to ask ourselves, we have to read this and ask ourselves if it's correct. So -45 is less than or equal to 13. So think about it. Is -45 less than or equal to 13? And that answer is yes. So this is true. Yay, it's true. Now, if it's true, it means it's going to be true for everything. True for all numbers, right? And so when we graph this is actually going to take the whole entire number line because it's true for all values. Remember how we were doing true for all values and true for no values? And so if it was true for all values, it was infinite many solutions, right? So as long as we keep it there, this is how we're going to go ahead and graph it. This is true, so it's going to be the whole entire number line. Now let's go ahead and let's look at this one. So we have D minus 14 is greater than D minus 19. We want to go ahead and get our 1 D's by themselves. So we're going to subtract off 1D, both sides, okay? And we're going to have -14 is greater than -19. So now let's ask ourselves, is -14 greater than -19? Yeah, that's true. So how do we graph this? Again, it's going to be the whole entire number line. Graph the whole entire thing. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. We have 2x plus 14 is less than 2x plus 14. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's move our variables. Let's subtract off 2x from both sides. The 2x, it makes 0. They go away. We have 14. 2x goes over there. Oh, we still have the less than. And then we still have 14. Now let's read this correctly. Is 14 less than 14? Okay. Is 14 less than 14? It is not. Okay. This is not true. Okay. And if it's not true, then remember, it's considered no solution. Okay. So it is true for no values, right? So that it's no solution. Now, if it was 14 is less than or equal to 14, that one would be true because you have that equal to, right? But the one that we're working with is just 14 is less than 14. That doesn't make sense. It's just like, oh, that doesn't make sense. So it's not true. It's no solution. How do we graph that? Well, it's just a number line that's there. There's nothing that makes it true. We can't put anything on the number line. It's just the number line. There's no graph, no nothing on there. Okay, so you might have to go ahead and rewind and go through the last couple of ones to understand this. But if we have it where the variables are gone, but it makes true, it's going to be true for all values, so it's infinite many solutions. If we get rid of the variables and you read it and it does not make sense, it's not true, then it's no solution. Okay, so we've done the inequalities for today. Hopefully you understand how to go ahead and solve inequalities. You do have a Canvas page. The worksheet that's on the top of the Canvas page, right, is the Canvas homework. So if you print out the worksheet, you go through the worksheet, all you have to do is go ahead and put the answers in. It does tell you how to put it in, so make sure you read those correctly, okay? So the worksheet and the Canvas assignment, they go together. It's not 2 assignments. They're actually the same assignment. I just wanted to make sure you had some areas to go ahead and work on your homework. So if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.